Next feature here is staging. Staging is pretty cool. What it allows us to do is create what we call the staged environment. The staged environment is kind of like a sandbox. You can do whatever it is that you want to do there without affecting what's happening in the live environment. So many of the exercises that we've been going through, if this was in production, our end users would see the changes happen as soon as they occur. Sometimes that's good. Most of the time, that's probably not going to be a good user experience. So what we can do is we can make all of our changes in this staged or isolated environment. Once we have all of the changes that we make, we can then take that staged environment and publish it over to the live environment. So that way we can publish at a time that's, that doesn't have a lot of traffic. So a lot of users aren't going to see what happens. Right? And then the process repeats. Any changes we want to make, we make them over in the staged environment first. And then once we're ready, we can then push to the live environment, and then all of the changes we made in staging will then be seen over in the live environment. So the way that staging works in order to make all of this work is the live environment is first going to be copied, and it's going to be copied over into the staged environment, right? And then the process rinses and repeats. You publish the staged environment to the live, it creates another copy, and then you have live and staged. So the general advice here is to try to turn on staging as soon as possible. This is because since it's creating a copy of the site, if you have a lot of stuff there and you turn on staging for the first time, Liferay is going to take some time to copy all of that stuff. So you want to try to turn it on as soon as possible and make that decision as soon as possible whether or not you're going to be using staging. And stage content is one directional. So you push from stage to live. It doesn't work in the reverse. It doesn't work in any other way. Staged to live. It's always that way. So a version or image here shows that you can have multiple versions of your site at the same time, right? So you can have a version 1 and a version 2, and you can work on those two separate versions simultaneously, right? This becomes very useful during the holiday seasons, for example, when we have November and December, where it's just a bunch of holidays that follow up with each other. So if you want to prepare, you can work on each one of those sections on your own, right? Create a holiday themed site or page in anticipation for the holidays, right? Have those as different versions. Once it's time to publish for a specific holiday, go ahead and then you're good to go. So when we're turning on staging, it comes in two different options, or there's two different types of staging. The functionality is the same, but the difference is where does our live environment go? So we can have local live. This just means that our live and our staged environment are on the same computer or on the same machine. Remote live, what this ends up doing is it will create a copy of the live environment on a remote server. Okay, so these are the two different versions here. Comparing and contrasting between the two, local live is much faster because it's all on one computer. Remote live is safer, right? We have two separate machines, right? If our staged environment, if my computer literally exploded, right, my live environment is okay. Compare that to local live. If my computer exploded, since it's live and staged in the same place, we're going to be in trouble. Remote live, though it's safer, it is slower, right? We do have to travel over wires in order to, communicate. So depending on our internet connection, our bandwidth, and so on, it could be a little bit slower. So pros and cons to each one. We will decide based off of our use case. Right? We can have different page versions as we talked about in the previous slide deck, and we can also set up a schedule. So let's say we know, every Friday a specific page needs to be published. We can make that happen, right? If we want to push out an update every month for the whole site, we can make that happen as well. You want to publish at 1 a.m. over in Eastern time, we can make that happen. And that's all thanks to the scheduling feature of staging. So quick summary, again, this is the last time we're going to do this. So go ahead, read through your student manual one last time, right? Go ahead and fill in those blanks one last time, and then we'll review back over here. So with that, Liferay's staging is used to edit sites in a sandbox separate from the live environment. So isolated environment is the staging, make your changes, and then push it to the live environment once you're ready. Staging makes a copy of a site, providing a work in progress environment to edit or create pages. So all of the changes we make are going to be in that staged site. And in order to enable it, it's a per site basis. So turn on staging for one site, it's on for that specific site. If you want it on for another one, you have to turn it on over there as well. Two types of staging, local live, right? Both environments are on the same machine, or remote live. Staging is on one, live is on another. Page versions creates separate branches of a page in order to create different versions. Right? It's kind of in the name. So yeah, page versions, you can create multiple versions or have multiple staged versions of a page at the same time. And then you can work on them independently. And once one is ready, you can then push it to the live environment. And then finally, scheduling sets up a time and a date for a page to go live.